Hi guys, sorry about that. Hopefully we can get back on. This is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. Sorry guys, welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show. It's recorded for you for YouTube. If you like, I think you can actually press a button now that says that you won't miss any shows if you like. So just oh, hi Darla, welcome back. Hi Kingo. I've got a dodgy connection apparently. So I was having a bit of a look at my toadstools and my mushrooms. And I also like the fact that I can incorporate a bit of that into here. I may just take this page. I kind of like the fact that we've got some of these cheeky chappies in here, I think. This is going to be a difficult one to think, so I might just take the guy out and the harp, and then I think that's going to give me a bit of an inspiration. So I shall take that out. Oopsie, I didn't mean to do that. So I think I'm going to take that out. I shall put that there, and I'm going to put the birds safe in the tray. And I think really some people put the birds down first, but I don't know where I want them until I've taken out the background. So I have to do things kind of a bit backwards. So I've got my little trusty little tray, and I work with Noir. I think that's the one I've opened. So this is Doe Crafts Artist All-Purpose Acrylic Paint. It's not it's not very opaque. It isn't opaque at all, actually. So I just put a little bit out because a little goes a long way with these. So again, I'm quite impressed with that. So I'm going to use my larger brush, and I'm going to take this out. So we need our page protectors. And I never know where they are because I'm hiding them. So I've got one to put that on so I don't make a mess of that page. And then I've got 3 to put on here. So thanks guys for stopping by. Thank you for bobbing in. Impromptu Wednesday evening. Just thought I would have just a bit of a play. Getting a bit obsessed with this. I absolutely love it. Didn't think I would, but I thought, well, I've got some of these paints, and I was so obsessed I want to buy some more. So tomorrow I'll have those all in order so we can read what they are. And I need some kind of I think I need some kind of shelf to put them on, so, or rack, so I can get to them easily. So I do tend to put a little bit of water with this, and as much as I like that little man, he's going, he's history now. I want to try and keep all these curls and swirls, and as you can see, my paint is not opaque. You can see through it, and instead of kind of stressing about it, I've decided that I don't really want to go anywhere else to buy some. I'm just going to put 2 coats on. It dries very quickly, so about here I think I'm going to have to get perhaps a smaller brush. And I do lay them down. I lay them down, the brushes down in water. So we've got all him out there. And I would think these are okay if you want to use pencil over, because it leaves a bit of a chalky kind of a feel to it. So we get rid of that shiny, which of course is not much good for anything. But I don't tend to use paints. So I'm doing a very rough background, gluing a bird in, putting a few mushrooms, and then I'll probably leave it until I get to the stage where I want to put something else in. And the reason why I'm going to be using my artist acrylics, and some are professional and some are student grade, but they're opaque, they're thicker. They're not these cheapy paints. And I'm looking forward to that. And again, I'm using up my paints because I thought I'd have to kind of just give them away, but I think I'm going to quite enjoy this. If it gets too much for the hands, I'll just have to give in, but I thought this might be a way that I can still paint if they're getting these giant canvases out that I used to paint on. I mean, I do have a giant canvas sitting about. I like the idea of taking this away. And I like the fact that, like the opposite page, I like some quite dark backgrounds through the back there. So he's almost dry. I mean, I can always paint things in later, so I'm not going to be doing too much damage. And I can make some highlights as well. I think I'll take that one out. I don't know if I want to take the back ones out. The idea is the ivy will come from there, so it probably will take it out anyway. Excuse me. It was just the gentleman playing his harp that I didn't want. So I need to now find a suitable coloured feathered bird. So I let that dry a little bit, and as you can see, you can see through it, but after the second coat you won't be able to. So I shall just the one thing I may have to use the heat gun, guys, sorry about this. I've got the heat gun. Just going to spread that out because I found that if it's too blobby it takes a bit of time. I think I may have to rethink these. They are very chalky rather than shiny when they're dried. So we've got a little heat gun here. Hi Elizabeth, hi Dave. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. I got cut off earlier. Sorry guys. I just did a very quick unboxing of my Winsor & Newton watercolour markers with professional light fast watercolour in them. So I will be using those, but tomorrow I probably would like to do a little bit of this as well. I'm getting a bit obsessed with altering books and making them kind of a little bit grungy. So I do kind of keep a little bit of water on my brush. I find it just flows a little bit better. And my paint takes 2, sometimes 3 coats, even though this is quite dark. But of course we can put a little bird in there. In fact, I do have a nest. I do actually have a nest. And of course that would be grungy because birds love to nest in quiet, uninhabited places because it's the humans that mess up everything. So anywhere where there's no humans, let me in. So I do have a tray with some birds. So we think I'm going to use the green one for the other side. And I like to match the colours with the bird. And so I do have a little fat. That's not yellow enough. I want a cooler. I'm sure there's somewhere there is a nest. There is a nest not far away. I'll take the bigger ones out. So I've got some beautiful long peacocks there, and some little parrots, a little fat pudding there. That's quite a nice. It's the wrong colour. Oh no, he's quite pretty, even though it's not the right colour. We do need a couple of cheeky chappies in there, I think. Excuse me, let me have a look at the colours. I think I've got somewhere for him. Now that would be the right colours. He's the right colours, but I think I've got somewhere else for him to be. So is that the nest? There's some chickens. Got some baby chicks, but somewhere I'm sure I've had nests. Some more duck chicks there. I'm probably going to go away from birds. It was just, this is what I had handy, and this is what I've chosen, kind of thing. He might be quite nice. Oh, no, that might look quite nice. Again, this is the difficult bit. This is the messing about bit. This is the creative moment where you think, yes, I do want that bird in there, or no, I don't. I've got somewhere else for the finches to go. Now I do have this book. Somehow I bought it twice, so I do have another one of this book. So it have identical photographs in it. It's just didn't want to use it. See what's here. I've got a couple of rather large birds. He might look quite nice in there, but I think I like this one actually. I think I could pop him onto that branch and he might look quite nice. Kind of settle him behind a curl, and even draw a curl back in. Actually, if I wanted to draw that little bit back in, that would be quite nice. What would he be sat on? He might be sat on that, but then I have a gap, so he's got to kind of be in the gap, kind of thing. I think I like that one. There's a couple of very large parrots, but they're green, so I think they're too white. He's quite nice. He's got gold. And we have this one at this side. And he's got some gold on him, so he's matching quite nicely. But I do think I might use this little one at some point. I like him. we found those two little terrors. They look quite nice. This is the worst bit because we kind of mess about, and that would be quite nice for him there. And then a little one in the back, or those two cheeky chappies there. He could be kind of forward and he can be on the back. But I kind of like that colour. This is the worst bit, really. Oh, hi, Katrina. Hi, Darla again. It's popping in. I just got to bother with the internet. Yes, I still keep coming back to this one. And I think that could kind of squirrel up to that one. And because it's at that angle, he's kind of diagonal. He's not. So I kind of like that. Now, you could be picking something off here if it's a berry. Sometimes I kind of like that. And then, of course, all the ivy would be coming out behind him. So I like that. I think I might just see if I could retrim that. Let me see if I can retrim that. Oh, I forgot about the big boy here. He might look quite nice. Oh, there's the nest. I found the nest, but we don't have a bird, so I think I'll leave the nest. Oh, we have this. We have this cheeky chappy here. Oh, he might look quite good. Because he's got his paw. Because I was going to have these two, but I don't think I like these two. They're pink. I think I like him. Now he could be stood on a bottom branch. He might look quite good. Because he's got a bit too much yellow. Although that yellow is very, very similar to that. He's a kind of a cheeky chappy, isn't he? Unless both of them were talking to each other. I think I'm going to cut him out. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut him out. And I think I'm going to use him. Bear with me, guys. Just let me see if I can get this cut out. I said this. I think this is the bit to take the longest, because there's no point slapping it down and then thinking, oh, it just needs to be just over there. And I think when you first start doing it, you kind of, you're worried that you're going to ruin it. Now, technically, I don't think you can, but rather than put yourself in that situation, I would rather take my time now than have to rectify it later. So this is what takes me the longest. I like the painting the background out, and then I like deciding on the bird, and then it's the next bit for me that is, and you do have to have a bin near you. So I actually think I like him better. Oh, hi Robin. Anybody else popping in? Welcome to Bunny's Designs. And actually that's going across there, so he could sit on that one. I don't know if I'd like two on or just one big bad boy. I do like all these beautiful swirls though. But I think, yeah, I think he wants to be kind of that branch there, and then I think you want to be on that branch there. So I think I like that. Unless I put him kind of more, yes, I think he's kind of not like that. He's more upright, so you want to be on that branch. I did like that curl there, so sometimes you've just got to play a bit. I'm definitely hanging on to that one. Oh, that's better. Yes, got him. This is the fiddly bit. Sorry, guys. This is the bit that if he's not in the right place, you just kind of it doesn't do it. So I think I like him there. So I'm just going to take. I missed that little bit of beak off. So I'm going to take all the wood away so he can perch. He can perch on what he wants. Now the problem with that is I may have to paint his feathers in actually, so I'm not going to cut his tail off because I'll need his tail in a minute. So that's going to have to go there like that then. Of course, you forget that he's got. And I had no intention of having this huge bird sitting, poking out of here. But of course, it would make sense that he would like a nice hidden space. So. Right, I bought, I've had a couple of books I bought for the children, bearing in mind we had pet birds and my daughter's always been into animals. So I probably had this quite a few years. And this particular one got water damage. Now, I've always done this. I've bought 2 of the same books. If I find them for a couple of pounds, I'll buy it. And then a couple of years later, I might see it and go, oh, well, I know somebody like that for 99p, and I'll buy it again. So we've ended up with 2 of these. So I do have another book called Keeping Pet Birds. This one got water damaged. So I decided to cut everything out. Oh, that was the nest I was looking for. See, so I've cut all the birds out and I've chosen the best ones. There's about a dozen that I can't make my mind up. So I've cut big ones and small ones, and I'm matching the colours in my book. So I couldn't bring myself to buy a book to destroy, apart from being a repurposed second-hand one. But I've got thousands of books, and this particular one, I picked it up. I think I picked it up when I went to Germany, at a junk stall, and it actually says, because I googled it, my German is terrible, beautiful Germany, and it happens to be about 12 by 12, and each page, apart from the writing, is a full page. And I saw it and thought, well, I don't want to get rid of it, but actually it lends itself to an altered book. But I didn't want to buy an abandoned book because I think the cheapest one's £15 and the others are between 20 and 25. So this book I already had, and I've kind of had to do the interiors first because I'm a bit of a chicken. So I'm taking a page and I'm darkening the areas that I want to take out. I haven't done that one yet. It actually is like that. I've chosen the interiors because I'm a bit of a coward. And I think this one was a painting, a carving. So I've drawn my little mushrooms. And this one, this was a carving as well. So I think I'm going to put these two bad boys over there. But I have just found the nesting birds. This might look nice in here. So again, you can do all sorts of things. And bearing in mind, this is a page of a really new, although it's the 70s, it's kind of it's a normal interior. And I'm imagining that over time it's been abandoned and there's ivy growing and foliage and undergrowth. So I'm kind of adding a few birds and then grunging it up. So I'm doing the abandoning. It's a normal colour book. I'm the one that's doing the abandoning with them. Oopsie. I'm going to put this one there, I think. I think he's going on here. I think he's going on here. So he's here, these giant birds, and this is all going to be kind of foliage, and that's my idea. And I didn't think it'd be as much fun as it is, but it is. Then the outside ones, I'm going to do things that are in my colour books. So I'm going to be doing blackberries and brambles and overgrown hedges and things to really kind of grunge things up a bit. This one, take out the sky and then put, I'm going to put snowflakes as well. So instead of having stars, I'm having snowflakes. And I did go on to the charity shops today and I bought this one, The Heritage of Britain, and it has some pictures. It's about the 80s. Is it about the 80s? So it has some that you could think, oh yes, there'll be water flowing or molten lava, or there'd be ivy growing in all these castles. So some of them work. And then we have smaller paintings that don't. But I'll have a go. I think it was £2. Yes, it was £2. I bought it from the British Heart Foundation. So it's a repurposed book. Because as much as I do like the abandoned ones, I'd rather make this look abandoned. You know, this is Oxford. I'd rather darken it all out and then put ivy growing down here and have a big bird perched over looking. And so I'm abandoning the actual pages. This one, I think I could put the ivy growing up through the bars. So this will be my next book. Just obsessed by taking out ceilings. Really love doing that and having ivy just grow everywhere, moss, all sorts of things. So I did find another one, but it's a bit too precious. It's The World's Most to See Places. But what I have done with this one, it does have some spectacular photographs. So what I've done is I've photographed them on my iPad, and I will be using these. There's several double pages. I'll be using these to alter with my, so when my hands are bad, I can still do this, but I'll be using my iPad. Probably in Procreate. So again, we can oil things, we can use pens, and I can use pencils. I can use coloured pencils because it's an Apple Pencil. So it's the only opportunity I get to use any medium I like, airbrush, anything. And there is something quite freeing in that. This one, I think, is just spectacular. So my daughter probably will want to have a look at this because it's not that old. And it's a DK, so it's again, this one was £2. It had been 25. When it was published. Eyewitness Travel Guide. It's a DK, which is can't pronounce the word of it. I can't remember the words. I can't remember what DK is, but they make fantastic books. Anybody got any questions? If you put your questions into caps. Oh, thank you, Katrina. Thank you. So I thought for £2 rather than 15 or 20. And again, even if it was this one doesn't quite work, but it could do with the drawings. I've got certain photographs that I can take and use for my iPad. But as I say, I think this one is a bit too nice to completely destroy. Dorling and Kindersley, and they do really good publications. And I'm just looking for a year. It looks probably maybe 10 years old, possibly 10 years old. The other one is in the 30s, so you can tell by the quality of the photographs and the pages. This one is 82, and I can guarantee the other one is 82. Another one that I almost destroyed, I have two like this. The Pharaohs. Of course, when we look at these beautiful pages, we think of waterfalls and interior buildings with skies and seas. So this one it was really difficult not to do this. But I think because it is so spectacular a book, I don't think I will. And I think I paid 99p. I think Sonia was getting rid of them, but you could really use almost every single page you could imagine would be amazing. So I was very tempted. And if I found another one, then I would. So now I'm on a hunt for Egyptian type caves, but man-made caves, man-made interiors. Country houses are like the favorite, I think. Beautiful staircases. The best one might be eBay, a second-hand bookstall, a thrift shop, charity shops. Most of mine were £1, but this one, I think I bought this one, I think. I either bought it in England for a couple of pounds, or I bought it in Berlin in a junk market in Berlin. Berlin? Yes, Berlin. There's a junk market, and I bought quite a few things, and I think that's the one I bought from there. This one again is an old one. There's the little tiny ones that have photographs. Anything that has good photographs. Again, this one is quite old. I must have had it quite a long time. Again, it doesn't give a date because I've destroyed it now. But it was water damaged. It was water damaged, so it was no good to anybody anyway. And I couldn't give it to a charity shop anyway because it was water damaged. So I would keep a lookout for that. And you'll probably find now you're looking, you'll see lots. So visit shops that have big books. Libraries sometimes get rid of big books. Rather than buying an abandoned book or abandoned castle, which in the UK is, I think it's so much, the work's already been done, whereas I kind of like the idea that this is a normal place and I'm going to abandon it. I'm going to break the roof. I'm going to put ivy there. I'm going to put a couple of birds for life, but then I'm going to kind of grunge it up rather than buy one. And this one's got all the little tiny birds. I cut every single bird out of that book. So I've got some really diddy ones to look, and this looks a bit like a model village. So I've got some ducks that are going to eat some gentlemen on a bike over there, and there's a little parakeet, and there's quite a few budgerigars, which I'm going to put kind of cooing and sitting and watching the world. But I think I type in on Google and it comes up like World of Books and Bargain Books, and sometimes they will send huge books out and they will have no postage, or the books will be 99p or 49p and the postage will be about 3 or 4. But it's nice. It's difficult to see them unless you have them in your fingers, what size they are, and the photographs. I haven't found one that has complete pages of photographs. This has complete pages. And of course, it's not a new book, so it won't be abandoned. This book was designed to show beautiful Germany. And they did make full colour pages because that's what they did 20 or 30 years ago. Whereas now they would think, well, actually, who wants to look at a book just full of colour pages? So think changing of printing habits and photographs as well. But you could get magazines and cut them out and have an album or some kind of book and think, well, I'll use this book because I love it. I'll use this book and I'll put photographs in of buildings and you build your little worlds. You could do it that way. It just happens that I happen to have this one. And where we have these pages, I'm going to practice the blackberries and the brambles and the little the primrose. We have primrose when we have a really old knotted kind of hedge. We've got honeysuckle in there. There can be privet, there can be holly, and this is where I want to practice those. And it's all good practice for my colour book. Well, unfortunately, Elizabeth, I've only just started, so I don't have a finished one. This one is going to be a complete double spread. It's the only one that will match. And I've got these little finches to kind of sit and look. And I'm going to put him, I think, on the pond. So I'm going to sit Cheeky Boy here in the front, and then they're going to be sitting on the signs. Of all the little signs, you can perch a little bird and all the signs. And I think this one, he's going to be sitting on here looking in. He's going to be looking in that window. But I'll take all the windows out, and I think I'll leave the pond, not the pond, I forgot what this is called. It's not a pond. It's a fountain, actually. So it's a fountain. I think I may leave the fountain in, but I'll take everything out first, and then I'll leave the fountain in. And I could possibly put a bit more water on there if I wanted to. So I started last week. I can't remember what day I started. The day I started was the day I had the book, and I started with. I think I started with this page, and it was a beautiful staircase. It's a beautiful staircase, and I've got my little mushrooms here. But I'm going to have to get it to this stage. So we take the colours out. We take the background out we don't want. I then draw in some lines of jungle undergrowth and ivy, and twist the ivy round, and then I put a bit more detail. And then when these two are probably at the same stage now, can't do anything else with until I get the acrylics out. So I'm using cheap artist's craft acrylic paint, but I've the ones I used when I at college and uni and as an artist, they are tubes and they're a bit thicker, and to get really fine detail, and I said probably going to be painting with a dog hair or some very fine brushes. my little toadstools want to look quite real, so I've got to put a lot of work in. At the minute, these are thin, opaque, thin, transparent paints, and you can't get any kind of tooth to them. You can't get anything to them, so it's all right for a background and a general idea. But then when I get the paints out, because I use a Stay Wet palette, I'll want to work on lots of pages at once. So I'll want to kind of get a lot of them to that stage. So this one's had the background taken out. It's a library. It was a clean library. I'm going to be putting ivy around the pillars growing up, things growing across the floor, and snowflakes, I think, and a couple of things. So again, I took out part of this, and then I took out more because I wasn't happy. And then I tried to match the red birds. So many birds and so many colours. I kind of wanted to match him. So he's kind of having a look about. I haven't decided what to do with this one at all, so we'll have to just wait and see. I think I'm going to be putting this little boy here and the other parrot. So you could have books on birds, books on butterflies. You can have old gardening magazines and maybe use those. I was thinking about the butterfly one, but I'm going to paint my butterflies. I'm going to paint what's on my, I think you're going to go on that one. And I think I'm going to put you. So I could just finish this. So I hope that made sense, guys. I hope that makes sense. But I'm sure you can find the big old books that nobody really knows what to do with and will want rid of. They make quite a good starting point. And then if you kind of really like it, you might do it and think, oh, I can't do this. It's horrible. I don't enjoy it. Then, of course, you don't have to do any more. You just... You haven't wasted a lot of money. But if I had to buy a new book and it was already kind of destroyed, I like to use a bit of imagination. And I don't have too much of imagination, but I can see once I've taken the background out. When you can see the full page, you can't really tell what you want to do. But as soon as I got rid of this dark, I realized that, you know, I'm going to want a nice big birdie. Do I want to, oh, that's his tail. That's where I've kept it. So he can be sitting on those two branches like that, because he will be sitting like that. And I shall put his tail at the back, but draw it in, draw that over the top. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put him standing like that. I do like that little bit of a curl. And then I think this one can be underneath. I'd like to keep some of his tail because he's got quite a nice tail, that one. So I think I'm going to keep him there, whether they kiss or whether he's just going to be kind of the bigger one and he's going to kind of be small. I'm not sure. I did love all this, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. I can put all the oldie ivy on there. In fact, I might do this one slightly different. I might put all the background in first and then put the bird in. I might do this one slightly different, I think, purely because I'll put him in and then decide when I'm going to put this one, because this one might stick on top. So I've done one of these books. I did buy another set of these. I had about 14 colours, and because they were 150, I bought another 6. So that's given me quite a few, because I thought that would give me to go through the book. And I think I'm going to take the whole of the background out and leave the babies in. I'm going to gesso these with I think maybe black gesso probably would be better. Maybe black gesso. But there's some quite nice photographs. Some I've got some idea of what I want to do, and the bigger ones I have no idea. So these will be done last. Oh, thank you. This one, I like the idea that all the windows will be dark and all the ivy will be coming out, and all the ivy will be a lot bigger because it's a lot nearer, threaded through all these this lattice work. Some pages you think straight away, yes, I know what I want to do. I did like the idea of water coming out of these, and then coming out of these, but I want to keep away from water, I think. So I think, not quite sure. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get rid of the window. I think I'm going to get rid of the window, which is a bit of a shame because it's a beautiful window. It is a beautiful window, but I think if I got rid of the window, the pipes would pop forward, and that's what I want. So keep the arches, but get rid of the window. Then I can have the snowflakes in here. Haven't got a clue. Love this page, but we've got so much going on. I was thinking of maybe just the painted ceilings to get rid of and keep the arches. Again, sometimes they're a bit more difficult. Could even take the backs out of here so that we can really get ivy wrapped around rather than just being kind of fake poles. I think I might take the background out of there and then kind of really grunge that up. This one I really like. Again, I found a bird that's that colour. This one I've matched up. I think he is exact colours purely by accident. So I think he'll be going in there somewhere. I don't know why I let him on there. I'll take him. And he does have a little bit of green on him, so might be just. I kind of like him there. Get rid of that. So he may want to. We had some kind of foliage up here. No, I don't think I'm going to do that actually. Just decided. I want to see this bit here. So he's either going to be sitting on there somewhere. I do like that pillar, so I think I want to keep that pillar. I may just black out the back wall and leave all this beautiful arch up. And again, you don't know until you take a little bit out. And if you don't like it, take a little bit more out. I like him on that colour. Again, there are so many little birds. Oopsie. I think I like the green one because he's upside down and I don't have an upside down one. And I think to start with, they may all have a much of a muchness, I think is the word, where they're all kind of ivy and things. But then when I go in with the other acrylics, they will change. So these two will be sitting here. I think he's going to be sitting on that ridge. And all along the ridge there are going to be my toadstools growing. So he may go here or he may sit up there. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to put down here yet. They could either be having a chat or they can be ignoring each other, depending on how they feel. And again, if I've drawn the little mushrooms up here, I kind of like the idea that's light and then there's kind of nothing down here, but overgrowth. And I like this little man here. He's going to be eating a candle. I think he's going to be eating that candle, I think. I did want his head to pop up, but his legs aren't long enough, so I think he's going to have to be. Oh no, he's not. He's going to be standing on there, and he's going to be eating that. He's going to be standing on that ridge there. I think that's quite nice. And again, the dark is for the snowflakes. So I bought a little book for a couple of pounds on photographs of snowflakes. It's got hundreds of pictures of snowflakes in it. And again, if it was butterflies, you could buy a second-hand book on butterflies if it was such and such. But I am going to paint them. It's for reference. I looked through several books. I looked through this one because I have hundreds of books, thousands of books. I have more than a library. Here I have photographs of snowflakes, and no two are the same. So my idea would be to have snowflakes coming down. I've just got obsession with snowflakes falling down. So there will be snowflakes, and there will be my mushrooms. And I also found the book on the Amazon. And so this is what gave me the idea. Oh, I've got to be a bit careful with this book because it's the Amazon. This gave me the idea for the rainforest and being overgrown, and definitely a jungle is an abandoned place. Have I picked the birds? Yes, it just happened that it was a book that was. I was a bit lame. I'm a bit lame at the moment, so I can't really go very far. So I just looked at the bookcase and found two books that had worked them way to the bottom of the pile, and one of them, as I said, I'd got water damaged, and I like the mist as well. So instead of, I love the green mist because that's the jungle. So I think it'll be very much a rainforest for the inside. But I think it will be very much. This is for the inside, a little bit like Jumanji when the jungle came into the house and started wrecking it. That's the kind of thing I have. That these are hanging down, and then there's foliage and all sorts of things. So this was my idea for the interiors, but for the exteriors, I just need a little bit of paper to put into that one. For the exteriors, I thought of hedgerows, British hedgerows, and brambles, and kind of overgrown creatures, whatever we have there, if that makes any sense. So I decided that I wouldn't take the whole roof out. This was a wooden roof. There is a video on this, but I'll have to fast forward it because Alfie was being really naughty, and so this is this color as well. So I did kind of like him there, but he's a completely different bird. I'm not sure what will happen if you put bright green ones in, but there's a lot of parakeets in this. And then, of course, we've got the big cheeky one here. So there's plenty to play with. I would think the next book you destroy would be on something else. So it doesn't take long before you have hundreds of little bits of pieces of paper. This was a spotty one, and the finches and the grey ones. Again, I was trying to match the colours. So you see, this is grey here. So if I didn't put these on here, I could put these on. I kind of like these two. I like these on this one, I think. But there's a bit of warmth in some of these. But this is definitely the grey. And then if we take a look at this one, this was almost gold on here. So we had to have the canaries. This was a staircase. So they're going to be little toadstools as well, dotted about, little mushrooms. I just wanted to get that instant feel of again, sometimes if you put a bird in, it doesn't look right, but I love the fact that this is just reds and he happened to match the red. So he's in there. These two may go in here because, again, these colours match. So we can kind of sit them one up there. We can sit him down there. Something if we wanted to. So you can sit and play for hours, but I mean, he's quite nice on his own. But I think he would, if anybody's going to live in there, I think he might want to live in there. And then he's got a little mate, I think, or his little brother. Oh, hi, Stargazer. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Thanks for popping by. Yes, I thought I'd just pop on because I did have I've been quite naughty and I bought some new babies, so I now have the full set of the Winsor & Newton colour markers. So I wanted to do an unboxing before tomorrow because tomorrow is my day of streaming, 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 in the evening, continuous, apart from the odd Alfie moment. And that is London Greenwich Mean Time. It's going to be a long show. It's going to be a long show. So we're going to have some colour books. I'm just been obsessing over the books the book I've found and the birds. So although they've kind of got a much of a muchness, so they start with an interior. They have the darkness taken out. They're going to have snowflakes. They're going to have a bird or 2 or 3. They're going to have overgrowth and undergrowth and everything else. I think once I get to the next stage, this is where I'll change them slightly. I just wanted to try these 2 birds in here. You see, I don't think they work in there because of the colour. I mean, I have spent a while looking at the colours, and they're just not right, whereas he just sits, because that colour matches that colour. He just sits quite nice in there. And there was another one with some grey. And as I say, when we get to these, this is one of my favourites as well. I thought they went with this colour here, so he could sit on a railing. Oh, he could sit on a railing. And he could sit on the step. But I had thought I would put my little toadstools on here, and little toadstools growing, so that these birds would go with this because there is a bit more colour to them. But this is what takes the time. And if I had to cut the pink birds up, I've just seen this. This is pink. So those pink doves would have done quite well in there. I'm not sure if I've got anything pink. Let's have a look. Oh, we've got these with the nest. And if you look at this pink, you see it's there. So this is what I've been doing, actually looking to match the bird up. So although it didn't go to start with, it does have a connection. I've just not plonked a bird there. You see, if you put that one on,